Hello guys and welcome back to Dark Horse FM, and today we're going to be looking at a proposed tactic for Manchester United. As we can recall, well, as at the moment of recording this video anyway, Manchester United have or are in talks with Ralf Rangnick to take over as interim manager since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked currently. So Manchester United, although Michael Carrick is their interim manager, they are in talks with Ralf Rangnick, the former RB Leipzig manager. He is German, I guess. So the plan is for him to take over till the end of the season, and then they'll see how the results turn out. So in this video today, I'm going to try and recreate Ralf Rangnick's philosophy and tactic for Manchester United on Football Manager 2022. Yeah, I'm going to show you an in-depth analysis into Ralf Rangnick's philosophy and the way he plays. We're going to look at his ideology towards football basically, and then we're going to see how we can recreate those tactics and his philosophy into Manchester United's style of play using their players as well. So guys, if you're new to the channel, remember to hit the like button as well. Also subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications whenever new videos are released. I normally make videos like this for lower league teams as well, because I'm actually a fan of lower league style of play in Football Manager. But today we're going to be focused on Manchester United. So remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. So let's get into Ralf Rangnick's tactics. So guys, before we go into the tactic, I'm going to give you slight info about Ralf Rangnick. He's one of the most famous head coaches in German football. I'm reading this from my research, by the way. His work as manager is seen as revolutionary, since Rangnick is one of the first coaches to adapt a back four system into German Bundesliga. So basically, he has been a manager at Hoffenheim and RB Leipzig and RB Red Bull Salzburg as well. So he has a German style of play, much similar to Jurgen Klopp's gegen pressing style of play, heavy metal football. So that's what Manchester United are expecting when if Ralf Rangnick takes over. I expect him to take over. But regardless of when this video comes out, if he's a manager, that's what Manchester United will be expecting from Ralf Rangnick. So he's normally used to deploying a 4-4-2 style of play, 4-2-2-2. Yeah, 4-2-2-2 bit. But I'm using, as you can see, set up as a 4-2-4 wide formation. I'm going to explain how it becomes a 4-2-2-2 subsequently in the video as we go along. And he's also been known to use 3-5-2 as well in rare occasions when he was at Hoffenheim. And also his preferred tactic, like I'm going to say, I have to admit it as well, his preferred tactic is a 4-3-3. That's also something Manchester United have been comfortable using in recent years. So it looks like a match made in heaven. So we're going to see how Ralf Rangnick's tactic works out. So for this test, I created three versions of the tactic to suit Manchester United. One to replicate in fact, all three tactics are to replicate Ralf Rangnick's philosophy for Manchester United using the players that they have. But I have created three versions of the same tactic because I noticed that you would notice that I'm using the identical team instructions for all three tactics. So in the first tactic, we're using a 4-2-4, 4-2-2-2, 4-2-4 wide. I think you get my point. 4-2-2-2 formation, and then the second one is a 4-2-3-1 traditional, probably 4-2-3-1 style of play, and then the last is the 4-3-3 DMY, the normal touch system that we're used to, one of the famous tactics in modern football as we know it. So we're going to go into each tactics individually to show you the similarities between all of them and why each roles were selected and how that depicts Ralf Rangnick's philosophy and style of play. Okay guys, the first is the 4-2-2-2 tactic or 4-2-4 formation tactic. And in goal, there's a super keeper on defender, and the centre backs are one ball playing defender and one central defender. Ideally, this could be two ball playing defenders, but I noticed that that's probably the defense is going to be too open anyway. But so I went for a one central defender and then one ball playing defender, and this ball playing defender is going to be Harry Maguire. And I retained this shape in all three tactics. So you notice that in the 4-2-3-1 is the same way with the same back four, the same setup for the back four, and then is the same for the 4-3-3 DM wide. So in the 4-2-2, we're going to go back to that. The fullback on the left is going to be Luke Shaw. He's the wing back on attack, and then his instructions are to close down more, tackle harder, and mark tighter. This is because Ralf Rangnick's style of play is heavy metal, and the team is expected to press higher up the pitch and win the ball back as early as possible. He had a philosophy where for when the team loses the ball, they're supposed to win the ball back in the space of 8 seconds. As difficult as that sounds, it's doable if the players train hard enough to try and win the ball very, very early. So all the if you check in the tactic as well, the Carrilero, we'll get back to why I'm using the Carrilero in this role, but he's also been asked to close down more. The deep line playmaker is the only player that has not been asked to close down more. And then the inverted wingers, sorry, have been asked also to close down more. Every single player, including the complete four, which we all know who it is. I need to add that right now. Is expected to close down more. Okay, that goes off, and I'm going to explain why that happened. So, when out of possession, we're going to notice that the team has been asked to press much higher and with much higher defensive line. We see here it's something I'm surprised, or I have to actually see how this works out for Manchester United, because they're not known to be the pressing style of teams. It's going to be interesting to see how Manchester United play under Ralf Rangnick. But in this tactic, I've included that the team is expected to press much more often, which is extremely urgent pressing with a much higher line of engagement. And then Ralf Rangnick's philosophy also includes that the team is supposed to mark the opposition closely and win the ball back within 8 seconds, like I said. The ball playing defender and the central defender don't have instructions in the 4-2-4, but the winger on the right hand side, which is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's been asked to play on support duty because I expect him to get up and down. And while Luke Shaw is going to be a bit more adventurous than Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's also been asked to close down more, tackle harder, and mark tighter. The deep line playmaker, I'm yet to decide who this is going to be. It might be Paul Pogba, but he's asked to stay wider for some reason, and I'm going to explain why. The central midfielders in Ralf Rangnick's philosophy are asked to go slightly wider to allow the wing backs to push all the way up. So if the central midfielder is slightly higher than usual, if it's slightly wider than usual, this allows the wing back on this other role to go all the way up, and knowing that somebody is covering for him in his particular role. So I'm going to switch this to Carrilero real quick, and I selected the Carrilero because this player is known to close the half spaces. Although it's not in the description as we can see it here, the Carrilero is similar to a box-to-box midfielder that is supposed to just move in between the central midfield line, and he's not expected to get into the box. But the player is, as you can see here, stay wider. So he's also a player that is covering the wide areas and the half spaces. So that's why I selected the Carrilero. And I'm also going to include for the Carrilero to close down more, but then I noticed that since I have the close down option all the way up in the pressing part of out of possession, it will not be necessary to include that instruction for the Carrilero here because he's already pressing hard anyway. So the inverted wing backs, I keep saying inverted wing backs, why? The inverted winger has been asked to sit narrower. These two players are going to play as playmakers on the wings. In Ralf Rangnick's philosophy, why I kept saying 4-2-2-2 is because that's the way the formation is actually set up. These players normally roam within these positions. They're in and around this region and not so wide. But with that position set, it allows the wing backs to also get forward and allows the team to have numerical superiority in attack. Wow, that came out well. So while the inverted wingers, I said it again, while the inverted wingers are on support duty, they've been asked to sit narrower, close down more, a lot more, sit narrower, close down more, tackle harder, and mark tighter. Since I moved the positions, that actually went off, so I'm going to include that real quick. So the complete forward is a striker on attack. This will be Cristiano Ronaldo. This player is asked to do whatever he wants, and then I include the shoot more often because I know Ronaldo has the capacity to score goals from anywhere. So that sums up the complete forward, and then the advanced forward is going to be asked to close down more and take more risks. This will likely be Marcus Rashford or Anthony Martial. Edinson Cavani also can fill in this role. That works as well. The second variation of this tactic is the 4-3. The second variation of Ralf Rangnick's philosophy is the 4-3-3. That's what I'm deploying here. Like we've already been through the back line, it's the same for all three tactics. But in this variation of the philosophy, I included a defensive midfielder on defend duty. And I keep forgetting, I'm going to ask this guy to mark tighter and tackle harder because the Ralf Rangnick's philosophy deploys that the players are supposed to win the ball back as early as possible. We can also see that when out of possession, the team has been asked to show the opposition inside, to close down higher, and to close down with more urgent pressing, and then a much higher line of engagement as well with the higher defensive line. The team has been asked to close to force the opposition outside, contrary to what FM22 match engine suggests, which is close or to show the opposition inside. But in this case, Ralf Rangnick's philosophy tends to compress the middle of the pitch and have more players in the middle of the pitch. That way, the team plays vertically, narrowly, and gets the ball directly into the opposition territory without playing sideways passes. So, having so many players in the middle of the field forces the opposition as well to, and the tactic also forces the opposition to go into those areas where there's so many players. So having all those players, having the opposition come inside means that you have the chance of winning the ball back early in the middle of the field, and then you can start a counter attack and then hit them on the break. Manchester United have fast players and they have one of the best finishers in the world. That's going to work out really, really nicely. And it's going to be actually fun to watch United play the way Ralf Rangnick knows and the philosophy, or play with the philosophy Ralf Rangnick believes in and the way football should be played. You can see here that the team is also been asked to mark tighter, close down much more, and then prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Every element of the tactic remains the same as the 4-2-2-2 formation in the first frame. The team has also been asked to counter press, as I explained earlier, win the ball as early as possible. But with counter attacking, Ralf Rangnick's philosophy is not 8 seconds. As the team wins the ball back, they're supposed to get the ball into the opposition territory or even to score a goal within 10 seconds. They're supposed to create a chance within 10 seconds. So that's the philosophy he uses. And you can see here that in attack, while we've included the counter once the ball has been won, in attack the team has been asked to move the ball directly and then with high tempo, extremely high tempo. Also, the team's dribbling has been set to run at defense, and then the team has also been asked to play with a bit more creativity. I have an issue with the final third. I don't always like including instructions here until I see how the game plays out, and then I know what needs to be done. Like hit early crosses can work for Ronaldo, but then if you have teams that sit deep and defend, wait, Ronaldo will still score anyway. Yeah, I guess so. But regardless, all these instructions are going to work anyway. But if I force one and say shoot on side, the team might not start creating chances and walking the ball into the box. If I say hit early crosses, they might forget to walk the ball into the box. If I say walk the ball into the box, they might ignore shooting chances. So I'm going to just leave this blank and then let it go that way. I could ask the team to float crosses as well, but that also means that they're going to ignore whipping crosses and low crosses. So I actually just leave it blank. I know Ronaldo is a superhuman player in the air, but floating crosses just means the players are going to ignore the other options, and I don't want that. We can also ask the team to play out of defense, but that's actually contrary to what Ralf Rangnick believes in the philosophy. They're supposed to get the ball out as quickly as possible. So playing out of defense, although the team will still look to counter, they might start to play sideways passes, and he is not a manager that believes in sideways passes or left and right passes. It's get the ball into the box as soon as possible and get the ball in the net as soon as possible. So guys, there's a lot I have not been able to cover because I'm trying to make this video as short as possible. But the third tactic is the 4-2-3-1 wide. In this tactic, I use the Metala and the deep line playmaker in midfield. And then besides that, there's an attacking midfielder in the number 10 role. His instructions are to take more risks, run from positions, move into channels. This tactic likely going to be used against small teams or teams that defend really, really deep. And I don't expect to use Ronaldo for this tactic, so it might be a tactic that will not include Cristiano Ronaldo. That's why, as you can see, there is an advance forward on attack. If it's in a situation where Ronaldo has to come in, I'm going to obviously switch it to complete forward on attack. But so far, so good. This might be the least used tactic in the whole philosophy, as the main two are just the 4-2-2-2-2 and the 4-3-3 DMY. Those are the two tactics that I'm going to deploy as Ralf Rangnick's philosophy, and these are the two tactics that accurately describe his tactical philosophy and approach towards football. So guys, that's a summary of Ralf Rangnick's tactic. You can check in the video description down below. I'm going to attach the tactic link so you can download it for yourself and try with your team, and also you can try with Manchester United as well, and then see how the tactic works out for you. Final note, I attached set pieces, which is the fifth thing Ralf Rangnick discussed about when he talked about his tactical philosophy. He said that there were 5 things that were very important: how you behave when you're not in possession, how you act when you have possession, what you do in transition when you've just lost the ball and when you've just won the ball, and then the last thing was set pieces. So he believed that set pieces are very, very important, and 30% of goals scored in football are from set pieces or out resulting from a set piece. So he looked at set pieces being an important part of football. So for set pieces, I included the nap tactics in this. I included the nap tactics here, and for the 4-3-3, I created the 4-3-3 afterwards. So I'm going to include the nap tactics now. You can go to load all routines, and then I saved it from a different tactic as well. So I named it nap M. So I'm going to load in the nap tactic right now. You can see the Beowulf tactic here, and looking at my fullback is the player on this row. I'm going to have to switch this to the striker because I know Cristiano Ronaldo is going to be the player on the near post. He's the player I want on the near post. So I'm going to do that for all my tactics, and then I'm going to run the simulation and see how well the tactic works out. I'll catch you guys at the end of the video. So guys, we're back here on December the 23rd, and we can see so far how the tactic is working. And after 18 games, United have 46 points, and they are miles ahead of Liverpool, which I would presume is one of the best teams in the game. And Manchester City, okay, they are fourth in position, but then United are still in all competitions as well. They just recently beat Norwich 7-1. They're still in the FA Cup, and then they have a European Championship. The objective is to reach the semi-finals, but Man United are in the first knockout round, so they've qualified for the knockout phases of the Champions League as well. And we can see how the tactic is doing. Looking at the team stats, United have the most goals with 43, and every other department they seem to be lacking. Well, I don't expect them to have possession because the tactic is a very direct tactic, so possession is not really something we're looking for. But looking at the least conceded, Manchester United are right up there as well with 10, and Liverpool have the least conceded with 8. United have the highest points per game as well, so it's still interesting to see how the tactic is going to work out till the end of the season. But so far so good. Ralf Rangnick's tactic is working perfectly for Manchester United, and United fans can be expecting something. United fans can expect so much with working with Ralf Rangnick as he's taking over at Manchester United really soon. So just to recall, I'm going to add the link to download the tactic in the description down below, so you can download it for yourself and then try it out with your teams and see how it works out. And something of note that I like to add really quickly, if you look at the set pieces so far, you can see that I'm using the nap tactic set pieces. I can't remember exactly where I downloaded this set piece from, but when you go to the attacking set pieces, is the short corner routine as well. The striker is, for now, it looks like it's Edison Cavani, but imagine Cristiano Ronaldo in this role. So your objective is to tweak the knack tactic. You don't have to do this for your tactics. You can always leave it as a central defender. But for me, what I do sometimes when I'm playing, when I actually pause the simulation and then just jump into a match and see how it goes, I expect Cristiano Ronaldo to play as a striker. So I usually drag this striker and swap him with the striker on the near post. So you see how, or you put Ronaldo in this position as well. So normally you can have the central defender if you're using your normal team, but if you have a team that has Cristiano Ronaldo as a player, you can swap the defender in this role to play as the striker and just watch how the result turns out for you. So guys, we're here at the end of the season, and so far United, well, we're going to see how the tactic turned out, how Ralf Rangnick's philosophy turned out with Manchester United in the first season. Well, just looking straight up, you can see that United finished second, although we're first for most of the season anyway. I think we dropped points at this period. We started dropping some points. But United finished second to Liverpool. Liverpool had 91 points, and then Man United had 85. Ronaldo scored the most goals with 38, and then Bruno Fernandes had the highest average rating of 7.50. So looking at the team stats to see how the tactics sort of turned out. So I'm going to go into competitions now real quick, and then we'll look at the team stats. Well, before then, you can see that United got knocked out. They went all the way to the semi-final of the Champions League, and to my surprise, I don't know how Borussia Dortmund made it all the way to the semi-finals as well. But they have Erling Haaland, so to be fair, Ronaldo scored 6 goals, which is by his standard. I'm going to say it's not that many, but he did quite well in the Champions League, and it's the highest goal scorer for Man United in the UEFA Champions League as well. But we got knocked out by Borussia Dortmund in the semi-finals, and then got knocked out in the FA Cup as well. But we won the Carabao Cup. Surprisingly, United won a trophy. So with this philosophy, and wow, Leeds United finished 7th. That's unique. I enjoy that. But United finished second with 85 points. We lost 7 games, drew for 127. Liverpool beat us to the Premier League title. And then looking at the team stats, the most clean sheets was by Liverpool as well. They won the league. They had 24, but then we're closer. So Ralf Rangnick's philosophy kind of it's also solid defensively as we had 20 clean sheets to my surprise. United, to me, don't have the best defense in the Premier League. Looking at the players that they have, I know Varane has been injured for quite a while now. But United having 20 clean sheets means that this tactic is actually quite solid as or rather than, it's actually quite solid compared to what I expected. So the most goals were scored by Liverpool as well, but when United are also second with 86, so we're quite close to Liverpool there. And then the fewest shots against, Man City beats us there, and then we're third. So the tactic looks quite good all round. And also points to note, I didn't actually play that many games. I simulated most of the season, so this tactic might work out much better for you if you actually play each game one after the other. So so guys, that's a summary of Ralf Rangnick's tactic and how I expect Manchester United to play when he takes over. So I'll leave the link in the description for the tactic so you can download it for yourself, and then let me know how the tactic works out for you. If there's anything that you tweaked, and just let me know in the comment section as well. If there's anything I can add, if you know a bit more about Ralf Rangnick's tactics that I'm missing out from this setup, remember to leave a comment in the descriptions, to leave a comment in the comment section so I can quickly add that and then see how it runs out in my own game. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.